I'm going to preview the Baylor at number 21 TCU women's soccer game, which will be played on October 15th at 1 p.m. Central Time, and it's on espnplus, or there's live stats, but I'm just saying that. And I will say this, Baylor is now 8-5-3 on the year, 3-3-2 in conference, while TCU actually had a tie last game, believe it or not, against Houston. And overall, they are 9-4-3 overall, 5-1-2 in conference. And I know we're just coming off a frustrating game against Cincinnati. I know it. That was a game that was stolen from us. We were playing a lot better than Cincinnati. And the only reason why Cincinnati at the very end got, a goal is because of a controversial call. Even the first goal was a controversial call for Cincinnati too. And the only reason why they didn't look back and on what did Baylor score at the very end is because they didn't have the ability to review the play. I don't know whether or not that's going to occur against TCU. So in that situation, you got to leave no down and score. I'm just saying. You can't count on refs for anything. This is a situation where you got to leave no doubt. But first, I'm going to go over the standings and where both teams are at. Texas 6-0-2 in the Big 12 and 12-0-4 overall. BYU is 5-0-3 in the Big 12, 12-1-3 overall. TCU is the third best team actually, 5-1-2 and 9-4-3 overall. Like I said, Texas 4-3-1 overall, 10-4-2 in the Big 12. UCF 4-3-1 in the Big 12, 8-5-1 overall. West Virginia is 4-3-1 in the Big 12, 6-7-3 overall. Oklahoma State is 4-4 in the Big 12. And 11-6 overall. Baylor is 3-3-2 in the Big 12, 8-5-3 overall. Oklahoma is 3-3-2 in the Big 12, 7-7-2 overall. Cincinnati is now 2-2-4 in the Big 12, 3-6-6 overall. Houston's 2-5-1 in the Big 12, 8-6-2 overall. Iowa State's 2-6 in the Big 12, 5-10-1 in the Big 12. Overall. Kansas State 1-6-1 in the Big 12, 3-10-3. And Kansas 0-6-2 in the Big 12 and 3-7-6. So TCU's third in the conference, while Baylor is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, tied for 8th in the Big 12 right now. They would be technically in right now, and this is based on the point system, like in the wins counted as 3 points and ties counted as 1, but loss is a loss. So I'm just saying, I think it's safe to say that unless chaos happens, unless it really does, Kansas State and Kansas are no longer considered to be close to the Big 12. Kansas for sure, there's no chance in heck to make the Big 12 tournament here. So I think that's a definite. We know that for sure. Houston, I would think Baylor is fine, but I don't know. I would prefer to get another win before, just to for sure yourselves in the Big 12 tournament. Because look, 10 teams only get in out of 14. So I'm just pointing that out. But first, before what could really occur, I'm going to say this about TCU. They're good, but they're not as good as last year's team. And they have used 3 different formations all year. A 3-3-4, which they have used that 7 times all year. A 2-4-4, they use that 7 times all year. But recently it's been 3-3-4. But they have used like 3-4-3 twice. So what are some players to keep an eye on? Lauren Kellett, number 1, 5'8" goalie. That's a senior. 14 goals allowed and 42 saves. AJ Hennessy, number 3, 5'2" forward. That's a sophomore. 3 goals on 18 shots attempted and 3 assists. 7, Castaigne, number 7. 5'4" forward. That's a sophomore, 7 goals on 38 shots attempted. Ollie Penna, number 8. 5'1" forward. That's a junior, 1 goal and 9 shots attempted and 1 assist. Grace Bryan, number 17. 5'6" midfielder. That's a senior, 7 goals on 39 shots attempted and 2 assists. Cameron Lancaster, number 21. 5'1" forward. That's a junior, 2 goals on 28 shots attempted and 4 assists. Okay, Grace Coppinger, number 23, 5'8" defender. That's a sophomore, 1 goal and 7 shots attempted. Bello Dirio, D-I-O-R-I-O. I apologize if I mispronounce. But I'm going to put the stat, what I have, in the description below so y'all can see it. A 5'7" defender. That's a freshman, number 11. 1 shot attempted and 2 assists. And Skylar Henrik, number 25. 5'3" forward. That's a senior. 2 goals on 10 shots attempted and 1 assist. I'm going to say this right now. The only reason why Cincinnati scored that first goal was because of silly mistakes. You can't commit silly mistakes. Cincinnati is not as good as TCU, obviously. And I would also say you don't need to allow teams to come back on you late, like you kind of did last game. And I get that was a bad call. But you can't let... And they had a set piece. Not just for that first goal, but the second one. But in that situation, even if there was a bad call against you, and they are having a set piece to potentially score off of something, whether it's just straight on like a long goal or an assist to a goal, you gotta... In that situation, you got to leave no doubt and play solid defense and not allow anything to happen. And same thing goes for corner kicks. You got solid defending and you got to have your goalie step up. And I will also say, when you try to score, leave no doubt. So you don't have to count on the officials reviewing a goal like you kind of wanted to at the very end of the game or close to it. I'm just pointing that out loud. You can't count on officials for anything. You got to play the game and not the ref. Because in that situation, you can't allow refs to dictate the game like that. Also, I would say, learn from your mistakes, like I said, from the last game to this game. You got more shots than TCU. You got to have more corner kicks than TCU, I would say. And you got to execute your corner kicks better. And in your set pieces, on the other side of the field. And I don't want to count on refs calling him anything because, look, the truth is, they are inconsistent. They are. And I don't get it why at times they are. I don't know. But I'm just telling the truth. Of course, you don't want 2 yellow cards in the game on somebody. That means a red. That player won't play in the next game. And this is a situation where if you want to make the NCAA tournament, this is a game you have to win. But I'm just putting that fact out there. Because after that tie against Cincinnati, I don't know how much it really is going to hurt Baylor with a tie against somebody. And of course, you got to take away their strengths, and exploit those weaknesses. I will also say that you need to find a way to take advantage of TCU's mistakes, especially on their own end. And Cincinnati gave us an easy chance to score again. And we couldn't convert it. Like I said, you got to be aggressive on defense. And you got to cut off the passing lanes. Don't clear out any clear shots to the best players or the best distributors. Make it difficult for them. And you got to take out all the frustration you had from last game and put it in this one. And I get you got to put last game behind you, but at the same time, you got to find the energy and the way to say, you know what happened last game? We're not going to allow that to happen again. I mean, and I know the TCU is going to do the same thing. They shouldn't have had a draw with Houston. I mean, they were up 2-0. And they ended a draw. And I'm going to just... going to go over what the possible standings for Baylor would be. I still think they're going to be fine for the... Of course, if you want to solidify your position more in the Big 12, a win would really help. Of course, I don't want to count on draws. I know, because that's only worth a point. But even then, it would still help. But we all know we prefer to win instead of getting a draw. Especially when you could have yourself a good win against a TCU team that's probably going to make the NCAA tournament. If you want to make the NCAA tournament, you got to go out there and win this game. I'm just telling the truth. So the possibility for Baylor going into this game, okay, UCF at Cincinnati, I would think UCF would win that game, but then again, who knows? Because Cincinnati had a draw with us and BYU too. I mean, so really that doesn't affect. As long as Cincinnati doesn't win, that's fine, because we're gonna be ahead. We're gonna be ahead of them on the standings. That's what we just need to happen on that game. Okay, really, Texas at Houston doesn't really affect anything. Unless Houston goes out and straight out wins. Because they have 7 points right now. Yeah, we don't need Houston to win. Or draw. Let's have them lose. So Texas, please beat them. And Oklahoma actually beat Texas 2-0 last game. So Iowa State versus at Kansas State, that doesn't really affect anything, but really. West Virginia at Kansas, I don't know. Because, look, West Virginia should win that game, but then again, Kansas has a lot of draws this year. But even if Kansas has a draw or a win, that doesn't really do anything in terms of standings. Unless West Virginia would lose, of course, and they would have a draw. I mean, if we win our game and West Virginia has a draw, we could be tied with them again. Individual standings. And Oklahoma State plays Texas Tech on the road. I would say good luck to that, because I have a hunch that Texas Tech is going to come out and win that game. So there's a potential that even with a draw, we would potentially move up at least a spot. In one spot. And Oklahoma on Monday plays BYU, and that's even in Norman. I wouldn't count on BYU. I mean, Oklahoma winning that game, unlike the Texas game by surprise. I wouldn't. So, and anyway, Baylor does not need Oklahoma to win that game. We don't. They need to have them lose or get a draw. But I know we cannot count on the other games out there, but I'm just saying there's a possibility we can move up at least. Well, let's just say if UCF would lose that game to Cincinnati, let's just say if they do, and West Virginia somehow has a draw, but even if, and Texas somehow, they're not going to lose to Houston. They shouldn't. But if they did, and we win our game against TCU, we would jump potentially to 4th place, or at least tied for 4th. But that's just really stretching it out there. But obviously, if we could get a win, no matter what, I think we would be safe for the Big 12 tournament. Because as we all know, the top 10 teams go to the Big 12 tournament. And like I said, I'm going to put the stats in the description below. I mean, the research I've done on TCU in the description below, so y'all can see it. So anyways, if you like this content, hit like and subscribe, and see you guys later on the road to 600 subscribers. Of course, the ultimate goal is 1,000 or more, so we get money off of this. And liking the video, commenting on the video, interaction does help the video to be seen by more people, and potentially more people subscribe. And hit the subscribe button as well. In addition, like, hit the notification bell. That's all.